How do you grow meat in a lab? Basically, you take a single meat cell and place it in a vegetable culture. It then divides and reproduces itself. Those two cells then become 4 and so on and so forth until you have millions of copies of the original cell. And so if the original cell was extracted from a cow rib, you could reproduce a rib simply by multiplying the cells. Is it meat? Well, only the small starter cell was meat. The rest was the vegetable culture. But then if it was a meat cell that multiplied, then presumably it remains meat, right? Today's daf discusses how a prohibited item that was mixed into a permitted substance may be nullified, only if there's no way for it to become permitted any other way. So for example, if Ma'aser Sheni, the second tithes, which must be eaten in Jerusalem, became mixed up with regular produce, we can't nullify it because there's an alternative solution. Simply take the entire mixture up to Jerusalem and consume it there. Mova Olos asks about pork. The halacha is that a tiny amount of pork that fell into a large kosher dish may be nullified if there's sufficient kosher food to outweigh the pig. But why? The Gemara says that only if there's no way to permit it can we rely on the nullification. But we have a tradition that when Mashiach comes, pig will become kosher, and we're meant to expect his arrival constantly. So nullification shouldn't work. He answers that perhaps Messianic pigs will chew their cud and therefore be kosher. Meat from those pigs will be acceptable, but any pre-existing pigs might remain treif. I'd like to suggest another way pigs may be kosher in the future. Let's go back to the lab. What if I wanted to create chicken? I could take a chicken cell and reproduce it, but I'd still have the problem. Chicken times chicken is still chicken. But let's say we extracted the cell from an egg. An egg contains all the same DNA as a chicken, and yet it's parov. So in theory, I could create parov chicken. Recently, certain rabbis suggested that a similar framework may apply to animals. Let's remind ourselves that certain animal products are meat, and others are dairy. The suggestion is that animals in their pre-embryonic stage might be considered parov. So if beef was grown in a lab from pre-embryonic cells, it might all be kosher and parov, irrespective of which animal, kosher or otherwise, those cells came from. This is a highly complex issue, and leading rabbis are proceeding with caution. But as technology advances, perhaps we are closer to Messianic era kosher pork than we think.